So, in this video, I want to explain why I buy from scalpers. Now, depending on how you view this whole subject, you're either going to hate me even more or you're going to understand my perspective. Now, I've been pretty open talking about, buying from scalpers in the past in videos where I talk about prismatic evolution specifically, but I thought I'd just make a whole separate video and title it, I guess, why I buy from scalpers and give my opinions and my thoughts about this whole thing. Because I know this whole topic with scalping is pretty polarizing. Some people really hate it and they say nasty things towards some those people. But there's people like me where I just simply don't really care. Like I'm pretty indifferent on it. So I guess I just wanted to explain my perspective on this whole scalping thing and why I buy from scalpers. So I do understand though the other side, why people hate them. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not oblivious to the whole thing. I understand. But the way I see it, like, it's not the end of the world. And I guess I want to explain what I mean by that. So, there's a lot of people online mad about these scalpers, and I can understand it. But here's the thing. I look at it like this. This is Pokemon cards, okay? This is not the cure for a disease. This is not a treatment for a disease. If this was being scalped and this thing was like a treatment for some sort of disease or something that actually was really meaningful and had a purpose and was actually like necessity for somebody's health or something of like that, I would see it differently with scalping. But in this case, it's with Pokemon cards. In the way I see it, it's like, okay, yeah, it's maybe not the nicest thing to do in the world, but at the same time, it's not that serious because of what it is. And this is where, like, I don't take things just black and white like some people do. And some people just say scalping across the board is terrible, which, I understand that perspective as well. But for me, I'm like, okay, it's Pokemon cards. It's not like the end of the world of the thing being scalped, whatever. And that's how I see it. Now, I know some people are going to look at it at a totally different perspective because maybe some people really can't afford the secondary prices on the market and maybe they are a huge fan of Pokemon. Maybe it really does something big in their life. I could see from that perspective how, scalping could be seen as a really terrible thing if you're in that position. So I'm aware of the other side, but just my take on it, it's like, okay, this is Pokemon cards. Is it the end of the world? At least for most people, no. So then, in my opinion, it's not that bad for what it is. And that's just my opinion. And you can disagree with me, and I completely understand. But I just see it that way. I'm like, okay, this is not like the end of the world type thing. This is a card game. So I guess that's just my perspective on scalping Pokemon cards and how I don't see it to be like this terrible thing and something that I'm gonna cry about online, like a lot of people do. To me, it's not worth it. It's not. That's why honestly, when I see people fighting over cards online, I sort of laugh because I'm like, okay, why are you fighting and elbowing people over for some Pokemon cards? So that's just my take on that, and that's where I stand in my perspective. I'm not advocating for scalping, but at the same time, like I said, I'm indifferent. I don't really care because that's the way I see it. So I guess now, and by the way, all the stuff I have here are just things that I've bought from scalpers, elite trainer boxes, binder collection boxes, surprise boxes, poster collection boxes, and I just bought a few mini tins just recently. Nothing crazy, like literally just a few of them because it was like cheap, whatever. Um, but getting back, now I want to talk about, I guess, other than me and my standpoint on the morality of scalping Pokemon cards, I want to talk about, I guess, my thinking about scalping and how, if I guess in my brain it works, if I were to just be one of those people to just not buy from scalpers because I don't want to support a scalper, right? Because there's a common, I guess, I don't know, like trend online It's to, not support scalpers, go online, be like, hey guys, let's all not buy from scalpers and they'll have nobody to sell to. That's like a popular thing that's being said online. But the problem with this is that it doesn't work. You know, if you don't want to buy from a scalper and it makes you feel good, it makes you feel, powerful in a way, then by all means go for it. Don't buy from scalpers. But I think about it like, I guess in the way it is, it's like, okay, you can be all, you know, prideful for not buying from an evil scalper, okay? But is it going to change what happens with the market at the end of the day? It's not. So the way I see it, obviously from the monetary side, is this. If, I have a, high moral standpoint on this whole thing, I don't want to buy from a scalper, you know, there's going to be somebody right behind me buying the product. And I think about it this way. And again, it's from a monetary standpoint, so a lot of people hate, talk about money. But it's like, if I have this standpoint, this high moral ground, don't buy from it, buy from these scalpers, I'm going to be missing out on making money. Okay, I know that's a crazy thing to say. It's like, if I know, and obviously I'm saying I know as in like my beliefs, if I can buy this product from the scalper, and in my mind, in my projections and stuff, I can make X amount of money. I can make thousands of dollars. Or is the morals worth more than that to not buy from a Pokemon scalper? Is it? That's the way I think of it. I know it's not the best way, but that's my honest thoughts. Am I gonna forego, making thousands of dollars to have this high moral ground and not support an evil scalper when at the end of the day somebody else is just gonna buy from them? Is it worth it? For some people out there, it is. For some people, the high moral ground going online, be like, yeah, I'm not supporting these scalpers, it makes them feel good. And like I said, if that makes you feel good, by all means, I'm not forcing you to buy from any scalpers. It's just more for me, right? But from my standpoint, this channel is built around this investing thing and money. And the way my mind works is like, it's not worth it. This morality. Is it worth, just being the good guy or whatever, but not supporting these people and missing out on, in my opinion, thousands of dollars of profit? It's not. If I was some rich dude, if, I had a ton of money, this whole scalping thing, maybe I wouldn't support it. Maybe then it would be worth it to have this moral high ground because the money, it wouldn't matter to me because I have all this money. But guess what? I'm not rich, okay? I'm not at that point where I can just be like, yeah, I'm not going to support these scalpers because, I don't even care about making the whatever money. This moral standpoint means more to me. But I'm not at that point. So that's why I buy from scalpers, is because I see it as an opportunity, because at the prices I'm able to buy from these scalpers, I see a lot of opportunity. I'm like, okay, these, scalpers, they're scalping Pokemon cards. It's not the end of the world. If I think I can make X amount of money, like, is it worth to just completely just not buy from it, these scalpers, for this high moral ground? And for me, it's not. And, I've talked about this before. If I could live in a perfect world where scalpers didn't exist, everybody online wasn't, yelling at each other, getting angry because that's a thing in this space, I wouldn't do this whole scalping thing, buying from scalpers, what do you want to call it? I wouldn't be doing this. But we don't live in that sort of world, because how this works is like, okay, if you don't want to join in, and I'm talking about Pokemon here, if you don't want to join in into, buying over MSRP and stuff, and you want to have this moral high ground, you're going to miss out on a lot of gains, a lot of money, having that standpoint. And in markets like these, and for specific sets, especially like prismatic evolutions, if you have that standpoint, you're gonna miss out on a lot of stuff. And that's why I've talked about it so many times. Like all these products, I've bought over MSRP. But the MSRP thing, it doesn't mean anything to me. And people that don't want to support their, game stores or whatever for charging over MSRP, it goes back to the whole moral high ground or whatever. But for me, I'm obviously looking at everything on the monetary side. And this whole scalping thing and everybody getting mad about it, it just doesn't mean much to me. Because, just how I perceive this whole scalping thing and just, I guess, my thought process behind this whole thing. And I know a lot of you guys are probably not going to agree with me because this whole scalping thing is such a touchy subject for some reason. But that's the way I think about things. So you can hate me even more by, me explaining my reasonings, and maybe it's harsh, but that's how I think about these things. And like I said, if we lived in a perfect world, or if this was some sort of cure for something, I wouldn't be supporting scalpers or whatever. But it's not. It's Pokemon cards. And, you may say, well, you should treat everything the same or whatever. And that's a, good argument. But that's just my standpoint on this whole thing. And that's why I bought from Scalpers. So let me know down in the comments what you think about this. Do you think I'm evil? Do you think I'm just it's just whatever, you don't care? Let me know what you think, because I would like to see what, the comments of the people watching this video have to say, because just of how polarizing this whole scalping topic is. A lot of people mad, a lot of people upset, a lot of people, I don't know, just super emotional about this whole thing. And for me, I don't see it as that big of a deal. The market is going to do what it does. If you don't agree with it, if you don't want to support the scalping, then just don't buy. But for people like me that, look at this, obviously from the monetary standpoint, like the whole moral thing, it doesn't matter to me because it's just not that big of a deal. So I guess that's enough rambling and going in circles. I think you guys get my point here that I'm trying to make. And some of you guys will understand me, some of you guys won't, and that's okay. We can agree to disagree. And I feel like that's something in the space that isn't done a lot, agreeing to just disagree. We can all have our own opinions, but it just seems like this whole community, even not even just the investing side, just the collecting side too, everybody now likes to argue. It's really a strange thing, and I really feel like this whole, community has, had a lot of arguments recently, because I really feel like a big thing that has to do with it is there's a lot more adults now in this whole space, just in general, on the collector side and investing side. And I feel like that's why we're seeing a lot more people, online getting emotional about stuff, because young kids aren't getting emotional about this stuff for the most part. I know there's some kids that are probably upset they can't find anything at stores, but the people online posting on these subreddits, on these YouTube comments, in Discord, channels, they're adults. They're grown adults. And those are the people you see crying online about prices and all these sorts of things. And I feel like that's really why this whole online anger in the Pokemon community has really been amplified recently, because there's just a lot more adults now in the space. And obviously these adults, they have their opinions they want to share with everybody online. But that's just, I guess, another thing. But yeah, that's all I want to say in this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I guess now you know why I buy from Scalpers. So that's the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.